I'm in the squeaky chair today. Hopefully that's not going to be too much of an issue there. Welcome back to Horror Furs, everybody. I'm your host, Candy Jack. Okay, so on today's episode, I actually got a, where did I put my notebook? Ah, here it is. A viewer requested movie, so that's always neat. This movie is called, I think it's pronounced Garuda. So, Garuda is kind of an interesting one, because this movie is entirely in a foreign language. I found a couple different dubs in different languages, actually, none of which are English. I found one that has some English sprinkled in, but then it's mostly not English. I think it's Japanese or Thai, or is it Thai? That sounds not right. I'm looking very educated today. So anyway, I can't find an English dub of the movie, so I was kind of at the mercy of just sort of guessing what was happening, as well as reading a Wikipedia article. And the Wikipedia article was like a paragraph, so it didn't really give me a lot to work with, but I was kind of able to figure out a little bit of this. But I just want to be made clear right now that this review is going to be pretty janky. Basically just going to be all over the place, just talking about highlights of things that were neat. Cool. So what I was able to piece together here is that this movie, I guess some archaeologists find some sort of fossilized bones of a creature that I guess is not a dinosaur. They can't seem to identify the bones, so they get this one chick who's like a professional at figuring out what gosh dang bones are, and stuff happens from there, I guess. They go on an expedition to dig up the bones. There's a giant snake thing at one point. Not really sure what that's about. I didn't really play a huge factor into the movie, so I guess just moving on. And I guess there's some sort of a connection between this amulet thing and our main monster, Garuda, which is a griffin-like creature. Something happens where this amulet, I guess, is used to waken the creature from its slumber. This is kind of what I picked up from the Wikipedia article, as well as just watching the movie and I just guessed it. This is a guess fest. So I'm not really sure if this has anything to do with the movie, but when I initially looked up Garuda, I did find another Wikipedia article. Is that embarrassing to admit that I'm using Wikipedia this much? I know at one point in time it was. I don't know if that still holds up. Apparently Garuda is also I think a Japanese god. What I read in the article, it's not like a monster or a cryptid or anything like that. It's there's some sort of godlike creature that is kind of like a anthropomorphic bird of sorts. The wiki article said something about, I guess it's something to do with snakes. That might explain the giant snake thing. It wasn't super interesting. It didn't seem to have a lot to do with the movie. The movie just seemed to take loose elements of this god and turn it into a monster, because I guess that's cool. And to be fair, it is kind of cool. This is a pretty cheesy movie, but we do have some pretty solid moments, including this one point where this one kind of badass looking guy who's got like scars and knives has to fight Garuda, and it's really over the top, but a pretty cool fight scene. Don't really know who this guy is because the movie it ain't in English, but I was enjoying the pretty images. We're gonna skip ahead a huge chunk here now because it just seems the best way to do this review at this point. So our monster does end up getting to like a civilized area. So Garuda is breaking loose in the city. There's some decent action, destruction, whatever. At some point he sprouts wings. So now he's got giant wings, which is pretty cool. I don't know why. I don't know what's happening. Guys, I'm confused. But I'm just enjoying the pretty images. It's great. I feel like I did it with what I had to work with in terms of the language barrier and the very underwritten Wikipedia article. I think I did a good job summarizing the movie, and hopefully this gives you an idea of if it's something you want to watch or not. So with that said, let's get into the rating system. On the gore, I went a 4 out of 10 because it's not like a total blood fest, but there's some, I guess, some okay gory stuff. I feel like this movie has kind of a PG-13 vibe. Like maybe a hard PG-13, but PG-13 nonetheless. Creeps, I did a 0 out of 10. This is more of an action-oriented movie, so there's not a lot of creepy stuff per se. Thrills, I went 5 out of 10 because, I mean, I was never at the edge of my seat, but there is some decent kind of suspenseful moments. I recall one part, this guy was like in another room and you could hear the creature coming, and then I think it was trying to break in. Basically, it was a decently suspenseful scene. Then for the monster, I'm gonna go 8 out of 10. For low budget CGI, like this is kind of like probably like a Sci-Fi Channel level production, I think. Either way, you can tell it's not Hollywood, it's not top tier budget. So for what I can clearly tell is a lower budgeted movie. The CGI is actually pretty decent and the monster design is pretty cool. Like every time this thing's on screen, I'm just like, that is awesome. Then my overall rating, I'm gonna say 7 out of 10, which isn't bad, I think. This isn't a movie I'm gonna rush to watch again, but it was fun to watch at least once. And if you don't mind not being able to find an English dub, it is on YouTube. So yeah, this was a fun one. Thank you to the viewer that recommended it. You guys can feel free to recommend more things. Doesn't mean I'm gonna do it, but you can recommend them all you want. Okay. I guess I'll see you next time when I do more things. Bye.